The Trevor May era is over in Twins territory. Here we have Andy Martino reporting that the Mets have signed Trevor May to a deal pending physical. Could be announced officially as soon as tomorrow. We also heard this is a 2-year contract he's getting from the Mets. We have not heard the terms as of this time, but Trevor May is no longer going to be on the Minnesota Twins. That much we know for sure. Not exactly a shocking development. I certainly think the Twins would have had interest in bringing May back, but they haven't been a front office that's spent a whole lot on bullpen. If you look at their history so far in Minnesota with Derek Falvey and Thad Levine, it's a bummer. It's a bummer. Trevor's been a guy who's been around for a really long time. We've watched him grow from a prospect to a stud major league relief pitcher, and also he's been a guy who's been really willing to put himself out there and be visible with his Twitch channel and really everything else that he's into. So kind of as from a fan's perspective, you really get to feel like you get to know a player when that's the case, when they're putting themselves out there like that. So Twins fans definitely kind of bummed to see him go. So if you're a Mets fan watching this right now, congratulations on adding another really strong arm to your bullpen, and just a guy that I think you're really going to enjoy having around. Since he came back from Tommy John surgery and became a full-time bullpen guy, you can see it toward the end of 2018. These are his numbers. I mean, just absolutely rock solid. 3.19 ERA, 153 strikeouts, and 113 innings pitched. That is a 12.2 K per nine and a 1.08 whip. He's a guy who also seems to have kind of invented himself a couple times in that in this kind of time frame, and it's kind of unique for a bullpen pitcher in some ways. And May is a former starter, but he really tweaked his pitch mix in 2020, and it seems to have really benefited. The one thing that is maybe a bit of a concern with him always is over that 113 innings pitch, he has given up 17 homers. He's a guy who throws hard up in the zone, and sometimes if you miss your spots there, they go a long way. Nothing too out of the ordinary for a relief pitcher, and again, it hasn't really hurt him overall. But that is part of what may explain the fact that some of his peripheral numbers aren't quite as impressive, or his ERA isn't quite as impressive as some of his other numbers. So you can see here in 2020 at a 3.86 ERA. However, his Sierra was 2.38, and his xFIP was, where'd we go here, 2.74. So that's the reason why the home runs are kind of hurting him in that department, but everything else looking really sterling. And as you can see here, I've got this sorted by K percentage, and Trevor May was 11th in all of baseball among qualified relievers last year. Pretty comparable to Josh Hader if you want to kind of pick more of a name brand guy who sort of incites more excitement. If you're a Mets fan, especially, you might not be super familiar with Trevor May. He's been a middle reliever, doesn't pick up saves. So, maybe a little less known than some of the other guys that you might see on this list here, but just a dominant, again, 14.66 K per nine last year with the Twins. And this is a guy who's been on an upward trajectory. We'll see how much what the terms are. I think a lot of places had a lot of the bullpen guys pegged for 2 years, $16 million in this market. He's the first guy who's signing as a reliever, though, as certainly as a top reliever. And there was a really good argument that he was the number 2 relief pitcher available after Liam Hendricks. So it's going to be interesting to see what he makes, because in some ways Trevor May is now kind of setting the market. And being that he's signing sort of relatively early, some other sports fans will laugh at that notion that, that free agency's been open for months and this feels like an early signing. But it is. In reality, he's the first really marquee reliever on the market to sign. That tells me he's probably going to be beating what most of the projections say, because why else would he sign so quickly? If the dollar amount wasn't exactly what he was intrigued by, why would he sign so quickly? Either that, or maybe he just really wanted to go to New York. I don't know. No idea. Again, we kind of feel like we got to know Trevor May a little bit, but everybody has certain places that they'd love to play someday, and maybe New York was kind of on Trevor May's list of places he would really like to go. So a really nice situation for him, in my opinion, that he's going to another place. Again, he's not been a guy who's been a closer. And there are probably teams looking at him as a potential closer. But in my opinion, it's going to kind of be nice for him to stay in that middle relief role, not really have all the extra pressure of, one being the big free agent signing and coming in and being in the ninth inning guy. He can kind of just continue to do his thing the way he's done it the past 3 years with the Twins. So that's a really nice situation for him to step into. And again, with the Mets getting another arm, of course, a nice addition on their end. So kind of a sad day, but I'll be happy when I see the terms and be able to connect the dots that Trevor May is making a bunch of money. So good to see that on his end. Guys really fought through injuries and just had a wild ride through his major league career so far of being that guy who was traded for as a starting pitching prospect and having to go through some stuff and then transition to the bullpen and figure out how to be successful in that role and just keep going and keep getting better and keep making adjustments. So going back onto that pitch mix discussion, here is I have above me here at Baseball Savant Trevor May's pitch percentage by season. As you can see in 2020, fewer four-seam fastballs, more sliders. And his changeup, I think, is an underrated pitch. And it seems like the better he's gotten a feel of that, the more he's thrown it. And I think this was I don't think a lot of even Twins fans realized that this was a new Trevor May that we saw in this short season in 2020. And it's kind of exciting to think that maybe, there's even further to go up for him, possibly. Now, he is 31. Bullpen pitchers are always a bit risky. But and you can see also we've got the everybody loves the Baseball Savant sliders up here. But this is compared to some of the other arms in the market. 31 is fairly young for a free agent. It's not one of the youngest guys out there, but I think compared to some of the other relievers on the market, pretty young. From the Twins' perspective, I'm sure they would have liked to have had him back, but again, they're just not the front office that's going to be giving out 2-year deals to relievers very often. The one guy they really extended themselves on was Addison Reed, who was a very good relief pitcher and was only entering like his age 29 season, or he was 29 when he signed that contract, and they got one kind of a dud season out of that contract, and then they just released him. So and this has been a good bullpen. The Twins bullpen has been one of the better bullpens in baseball. Last year, I believe they were tied for the lead in Fangraphs WAR as a team. Yep, with the Rays. So that you can't argue too much against their bullpen building strategy. It's worked out so far. Losing Trevor May is going to be a huge hit, especially since there's nobody really established in the bullpen at this point that is a fireballer like that throws 96 above average. Rogers is very good. Tyler Duffy is very good, but neither of those guys throw quite this hard or strike out quite as many batters as Trevor May does. So they're going to be looking for guys to step up or looking for replacements. Maybe Jorge Alcala can step up. Matt Whistler maybe is ready for an expanded role. Hard to say. It wasn't that long ago that Trevor May was an unestablished relief pitcher. And I think that's kind of the mentality in the teams like the Twins, who are in more of a building mentality than a buying mentality is, all these free agents who are the top guys in the relief market were once, nobody's essentially in a way. No, among major leaguers, nobody's. Like Liam Hendricks is the number one relief free agent in the market, former Twin, and he went unclaimed on waivers once after he left Minnesota. So you never know where the next big reliever is going to come from, but we do know that Trevor May, a big reliever on this year's market, is heading it to the New York Mets. I mean, yeah, Marcus Stroman's one of my favorite players in baseball. Now they have Trevor May. I think I'm going to pretty much tallied up here that let's go Mets. That's going to be my favorite NL team going forward with those two guys in the roster. So again, we'll wait to see the terms, but congratulations to Trevor May. We hate to see you go. Best of luck in your future endeavors with the New York Mets. We'll be rooting for you. And it's been a run, man. It's been a run. Watching you come through all this. I mean, look at that. As a rookie, debuted as a starter and put up a 7.88 ERA and just got his teeth kicked in, and then went through all those injuries and has come back and really probably not how he envisioned his career going, but this is a big deal. Getting to free agency, going through all that, and hopefully cashing out and making some good bank That's a big deal for him. So excited for him. Bummed, a little bummed as a Twins fan, but you're going to choose to be excited for Trevor May in this situation. But anyway, hey, this has been Tom. We'll talk again soon. Thanks for checking this out.